Well, we've taken you on a journey to 10 universities in 8 countries across the world, ranging from San Francisco to Chicago and Jakarta to Dubai.
And now we welcome you back to Salford for the final leg of the 12-hour Global News Relay. We hope you've enjoyed your experience so far, but there's still loads more to come.
4 years and millions of pounds later, we take a look inside Manchester's newly refurbished Central Library.
Healthy eating and takeaways don't normally come hand in hand, but one woman in the Northwest is proving us all wrong.
And we reveal the winner of the Children's Book Award in Salford. But first, for the latest top stories making the headlines tonight.
Breaking news, Salford FC has reportedly been the subject of a successful takeover by some familiar faces.
Yes, Manchester United legends Ryan Giggs and Gary Neville are believed to have completed the purchase of the non-league side, subject to approval.
Joining us now in the studio is sports reporter Cameron Coulavous. Thank you for coming in, Cameron. Yeah. So, what impact is this going to have on the local area?
It's going to be massive. Obviously, Salford City FC, they're non-league at the moment, but with such legends of the game coming in and taking part in this ambitious project, it's going to see an exponential rise, hopefully, and who knows, one day they could be challenging Manchester United themselves for the league title. And
tell us now, Cameron, how did the story break today? I mean, where did all this information come from?
It was all very bizarre, really. I came into uni and then Ryan Giggs was there walking around and there was a big posse of people around him.
Who was with him, Cameron?
It was his entourage, but there was also Gary Neville and Nicky Butt, and obviously it's now been confirmed that Giggs and Neville have bought Salford City FC subject to approval, and it's going to be a massive thing for the local area.
So, as you say, the massive players, what will they actually bring to Salford City Football Club?
They can attract better players, they can bring better facilities, they've got the money to invest, and you know, the legends of the game, that Ryan Giggs, as a proud Welshman myself, he is the greatest Premier League player of all time, so he's only going to be bringing in better youth and hopefully increasing the revenue for the Salford club so that they can rise up the divisions.
And what about Gary Neville?
Gary Neville, obviously he's a great pundit now, but again, a strong figure, and I'm sure he'll be the authoritative one in the deal, making sure that he signs the best young talent as well.
Now, there's also been talks, hasn't there, of Paul Scholes being involved?
Yes, apparently they're bringing in Paul Scholes as manager, which is an ambitious move, but obviously he has no managerial experience to date, but he was a coach at Manchester United before being tempted out of retirement by Fergie last year. So
it must be quite tough for you to say such great things as a Liverpool fan yourself, then, Colin.
Yeah, well, actually, one of our reporters had the audacity to ask Giggs himself if Liverpool are going to win the league today. I think that will be coming up on the Sport later, but yeah, he didn't react too greatly to that.
I heard that he apologised to one of our season ticket holders at the university as well today. But thanks very much for coming in and talking to us today, Cameron. Thank you.
Thanks, Cameron.
In other news, the Philippines signed a historic peace deal today with their biggest Muslim rebel group. This comes after 17 years of negotiation and fighting that has killed at least 120,000 people.
Turkey has blocked access to YouTube after a recording allegedly showed a security meeting on Syria. This comes after the country controversially blocked Twitter after tweets about government corruption.
England's chief medical officer has said today that obesity is the norm. A new report shows that nearly 2/3 of adults and 1/3 of children are obese or overweight.
And Manchester Airport is donating almost £500,000 to art and tourism groups this year. Places such as the Lowry and Bridgewater Hall will benefit from the windfall, which will support art and cultural projects across the region.
Now, to the issue of equality in the Church of England, it's 20 years since the first female priests were ordained.
And with the ratio of males and females now being ordained at 50-50, could we start seeing women also being appointed as bishops? Siobhan Maguire has more.
In her 10 years as a priest, Reverend Sarah Kearney has conducted hundreds of services at St Clement's Church in Salford. She doesn't like the tag of female priest, but believes they certainly bring something new to the clergy.
I think women priests do bring a different dimension. I don't think they are better than male priests, but I think they do bring a different dimension to the worship. And people of the congregation and of the community sometimes prefer to go to a woman than to a man, and vice versa.
The next step for the church is the introduction of female bishops. Having failed in an initial bid in 2012, England hopes that new proposals next year will help bring them in line with other nations such as Scotland and Ireland.
I've been a strong supporter for a long time now of women as bishops. It seems that God is calling women in just the same way as he's calling men. I felt slightly strange at my stage of life a few years ago, suddenly finding myself turning up at meetings with 50 people, all of them men. That's not what British society is up to nowadays, and so I'm sure that having women as well as men as bishops in those meetings, it'll do something to change the dynamic, and we'll make better decisions as a result.
Since changes have come in Ireland and Scotland, it seems inevitable that it will happen in England. But it may not be something that's for everyone.
Apologies for the technical difficulties there. The package will be available in full on the website.
So now we're joined in the studio by Reverend Sandra Kearney and her husband Bob.
Hello.
So 10 years in the priesthood, Sandra. How will you be marking the anniversary?
Well, we do have an anniversary service a bit later on at Manchester Cathedral, which we'll be going to, and just generally sort of happy of the occasion.
Who else will be there at the service with you, Sandra?
Definitely, yes.
Who'll be there with you? Who'll be joining you?
The bishop which you saw earlier, Bishop David Walker, he'll be there. And I'm sure the other two bishops will be there. Everybody will be there as much as possible.
So, if you were approached about becoming a bishop, what would your view be on it? Is it something that you'd be looking to do?
It's something that I will not be looking to do. No, I enjoy parish work, and actually, because you don't just become a bishop, you've got to go through archdeacon and then be a bishop. And actually, my age is against me, apart from the fact that I enjoy and love being a parish priest. So
now, Bob, we're used to seeing male priests and their wives. How does it feel to be the husband of a female priest?
Well, it's a funny thing, because in the Church of England, when your husband or wife is ordained as a vicar, right, you cease to become a husband or wife, you become a spouse. But a spouse, you see, it's this term. So you
sort of like lose all that there. You're just like the other half from then on fully. Is that it?
The better half.
No, don't go down that road. I always say the other half. You know. But I support Sandra in ministry. I mean, when 10 years ago when she decided to go for ministry, she stood one night and said to me, "How would you feel if I went for ordination?" And this is going to sound super spiritual, actually, but I said, "Who am I to stand in God's way?"
Well, you make a lovely, lovely couple, and really thanks so much for coming in the studio and talking to us
It's
today.
lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, unnecessary 999 calls are becoming a regular occurrence for the North West Ambulance Service. Carly Foster reports on a campaign set up to help educate the public.
Ambulance, what's the address of the emergency?
You'd think people would call the 999 service when their health is in danger, not when they're drunk. But for the North West Ambulance Service, 2/3 of the 3,000 calls they receive a day are non-life-threatening incidents. Sending ambulances to places where they are not needed is causing serious consequences to the NHS. Whilst the crew is dealing with the patient, there could be someone else in greater need of urgent care.
We could be sending an ambulance out to somebody who's just drunk in the street on a Saturday night, and somebody else is having a cardiac arrest, and we haven't got enough ambulances.
And North West Ambulance Service have a 999 Twitter campaign to help direct the public to an alternative pathway of care as opposed to sending an ambulance.
Hashtag Team 999 has been set up to try and raise awareness of what the ambulance service is here for, and that is partly we are here for emergencies, but when you ring 999 it doesn't mean you'll always get an ambulance. You may get just a car, you may or may not be taken to hospital, you may get a call back, and it's all about us getting the right care for the patient.
Hashtag Team 999 also enables the public to have a glimpse into the
Sorry there for the technical difficulties. As always, you can catch the full story on quaysnews.net. So, 5,000 visitors flocked to the reopening of Manchester Central Library on Saturday.
The £50 million project hopes to attract 2 million visitors per year. Lewis Smith went to the launch. Apologies again for that technical difficulty there with the sound. It will be available on the website, so do go to quaysnews.net and have a look at it.
Now, most of us are getting active in the gym and watching our dads preparing for the summer season ahead, which means in some cases avoiding the local takeaway. I mean,
however,
is that something you're doing yourself, Sophie? Is it?
No, but this is something of interest, especially to girls, because in Walkden, Najee's Kitchen is offering an alternative option, which means that a takeaway may be back on the menu. Kate Emery has more.
Hi, welcome to Najee's Kitchen. What can I get you?
Local takeaways are convenient for families who are constantly on the move, but they are not always the healthiest option. This is a problem that Danielle and her husband Colin were having, and they wanted to do something about it.
We started to eat really nice food that we'd cooked ourselves, like curries and kebabs and pizzas and Chinese. Which was great when we had the time to do it, but then when we didn't have the time to do it, we ended up going back to convenience food, and we'd think, what we're going to do, we'll have to go to the takeaway, but then we didn't want to eat a takeaway and ruin all the hard work that we'd done. So it was just kind of a bit of a light bulb moment, really. We just kind of both said, wouldn't it be great if there was a takeaway that did food like this, but was healthier, and you knew how many calories you were having.
At Najee's Kitchen, the aim is to be healthy, but the menu is still quite typical of a takeaway. Pizzas, chips, curries and even kebabs are on offer, but can a kebab really be healthy?
There's so much, so many less calories than if you were going to have a doner kebab. The chili meatballs, so the little we use lean mince and we mix them with spices and onions and they form little meatballs, and they're absolutely delicious. They've been our biggest seller. I think in one night we sold 60 of them.
Salford City Council are concerned about the role takeaways might play in child obesity rising, but Najee's Kitchen is hoping that with their approach, a takeaway can actually help you to lose weight, as that is exactly what happened in Danielle's family.
It was myself who decided to start Weight Watchers. At the time, my husband wasn't necessarily tracking as I was, but he was eating everything I was making, so by default he's kind of lost weight as well. He actually probably lost a lot more weight than I have in the end, but yeah, we both I think my husband's lost about 2 or 3 stone and I've probably lost about a stone and a half.
So though takeaways are normally somewhere to avoid when you're trying to be healthy, this takeaway has exactly that in mind with each dish that is made.
So this means that you can have all the pleasure of a takeaway with none of the guilt.
This is Kate Emery reporting for Quays TV News.
Oh, that did look great. I tell you, I could go for some of them meatballs right now, I think.
I'll have to go on the way home. I'm starving. It looked gorgeous. It looked really nice.
Yeah. Now, the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra are undertaking a tour of live concerts in small venues around Salford. Their performances are part of the Spirit of Salford celebrations. Svetlana Dankova brings us more on the story.
Musicians from the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra are bringing pieces of the great classical composers to Salford local communities through 6 live concerts. They are performing a program of chamber music, including works by Bach, Mozart, Fauré and Brubeck.
Really good to see them close up and see the talent of the people in the ensemble. It was amazing, really good.
The concert was magnificent, it was wonderful. The music as well that they played was a good variety.
The initiative features 10 musicians of the orchestra, which is currently on a tour in Europe.
And that's 80 of them are out of the country. But these 10 musicians that have stayed behind have got young families. And I've kind of galvanised those 10 people and put them into a new ensemble, a much, much smaller ensemble, a chamber group. And those 10 players were very, very happy to spend this week touring lots and lots of venues across Salford to meet our audience in places that they are familiar with rather than the places that we are familiar with.
Venues for the concerts include Eccles Town Hall, Worsley Courthouse, Salford Museum and Art Gallery, Salford Sports Village and Orso Hall. An additional date was set on Monday for a concert in front of the shoppers at the Lowry Outlet Mall.
We're here with some musicians from the BBC Philharmonic and we're playing music in the Lowry Shopping Centre throughout the day, and there's a group of 10 of us who are playing all together at some points, and then we're doing some smaller chamber music as well.
The tour is part of the Spirit of Salford campaign, which aims to share and celebrate the characteristics of the city. The year-long campaign is ending with a festival in May. Svetlana Dankova for Quays TV News.
Children across Salford have been discovering the joy of new books, authors and storytelling. Michael Pornogo has been announced as the winner of the Children's Book Award. Carly Foster has more.
Of the WOW Best Book of the last 10 years, winner is
Michael McPergan.
Hundreds of children explored the world of literature at the Salford Children's Book Awards. Winners of the award in the last 10 years recently came together to battle it out to become the winner of all winners. The special event promoted to youngsters the sheer fun of reading and the benefits it can bring.
You can step into your own world of it and see how they're going through their ideas. It's like an escape from the real world and into your own imagination. Reading is really important to me because if you don't read, you might not get a good job or a good education because these are words you could use in the future.
Several children voted for their favourite read in the annual Salford Community Leisure Libraries Award. In the end, it was Michael Mapergo's Shadow and Private Peaceful that scooped the majority of votes, but unfortunately the author could not attend the event.
And as well as honouring the winners themselves, the children had the opportunity to critique some of the author's work.
It's about having them learn about how other people live, about the world and just being lost in books.
The event also recognised that children are reading more books, but across different platforms.
We're all looking at Facebook and we're looking at things like this. People are therefore reading less long, contiguous sort of blocks of text. On the other hand, they're still reading. I don't really see much evidence that they're not reading, and they're reading more books as well in some weird way.
This year's Winner of Winners has encouraged more young Salfordians to read and write their own books. Maybe they too can be winners in the future. Carly Foster, Quays TV News.
Now, Media City UK restaurant Damson was visited by some of the UK's top food critics and writers as part of an event to raise money for Action Against Hunger.
However, Damson was certainly not in distress as the event raised £13,000 for the charity. Amelia Minchova has more.
UK top critics and food writers came to Manchester as Too Many Critics charity dinner took place in Damson restaurant earlier this week. They battled it out in the kitchen to prepare a three-course dinner for the food industry's top personalities. The evening was designed in aid of Action Against Hunger and is aimed to raise awareness of the charity and its mission.
They only ever do these in London, don't they? I think we're the first one outside of London to do this, and it's always good to get involved in our own charities. So it's good for us, good for the critics to come up here and cook, good for the chefs and the restaurateurs that are out there tonight eating, hopefully going to have a nice meal.
This year's host was the BBC Food and Wine presenter Nigel Barden, who also conducted the live auction. The critics were challenged to enter a pie competition to be judged by 140 of the top chefs and restaurateurs in the country. A vegetarian menu was also prepared for non-meat eaters.
Well, they can either have the beetroot and goat cheese tart, or we've got a spring onion risotto with grilled tomatoes, and we're doing linguine with pickled butternut squash, walnuts, blue cheese and pear.
All funds raised at the event will go to Action Against Hunger programs aimed at providing malnourished children with a healthier future. For Quays TV News, Emilia Mincheva.
The Philippines signed a historic peace deal today with their biggest Muslim rebel group. This comes after 17 years of negotiation and fighting that has killed at least 120,000 people. Turkey has blocked access to YouTube after a recording allegedly showed a security meeting on Syria. This follows news on the country blocking Twitter after controversial tweets appeared online about government corruption. A study has found that lovers in the northwest are letting technology get in the way of their sex lives. Over the past few years, we have seen a boom in the number of gadgets available to the public. A survey has found that 1 in 6 people from the region have actually answered their phones or read a message whilst in the throes of passion. 5% have even admitted to checking their Facebook page. People are warned about a potential scam in regards to this year's Parklife Festival's tickets. People should contact Action Fraud if sold a fraud ticket. The Parklife Music Festival will take place on the 7th and 8th of June this year. A children's holiday camp in Salford, which has been open for over 50 years, may close due to funding cuts. Salford Children's Holiday Camp is a popular destination for primary school children. Now businessman Nick Abbott is hoping to provide the money needed to keep it open.
That they can put in my way, they have. For example, they first said the reason for closing the camp was because of urgent health and safety issues. We've addressed those. The second reason was the withdrawal of funding from Salford Council. We believe we can address that because we have people prepared to support the camp every year. We've got 5 companies so far prepared to give £3,000 every year.
An unusual exhibition is taking place at the Sacred Trinity Church in Salford. The pictures of decorated human remains were made by photographer Paul Cudenaris. The exhibition will be open until the 10th of April. Now over to Helen Rowe-Wilcox with the latest weather. Helen.
Thanks, Sophie. The rain is well and truly settling for the night in the northwest. Thankfully, some better weather is coming for the weekend. Highs of around 6 degrees tonight, but the rain will be continuous throughout, easing off into tomorrow morning. Wind will be light, but it will bring a chilly feel with it. Tomorrow morning will start off much like today and will finish with heavy, scattered showers throughout. The winds will have picked up, meaning it'll feel cool outside, especially along the coastline. After a wet start on Friday, showers should begin to clear, and the southerly front that is heading our way means that the weekend should bring some sunny spells and higher temperatures, peaking to around 16 degrees on Sunday.
Hello and welcome back to Entertainment. I'm Bradley Harris.
And I'm Kate Emery.
Coronation Street stars Jack and Vera Duckworth have been reunited in Blackpool's Madame Tussauds as a waxwork.
Unveiling it was a special and emotional moment for Liz Dawn, who plays Vera, after the death of her former on-screen husband in 2012.
Now, scrambled egg in your hair and chocolate cake in your face are just a couple of things you'd expect in your average food fight.
However, at Upper Campville Market Hall in Deansgate, they've taken a slightly less messy approach. Food experts from around Greater Manchester will meet to showcase their skills and recipes without any throwing of cake.
This is to continue for the next 8 weeks, and our reporter Joanna Sinkowska went for a taste of the action.
Beats and Eats are on the menu at a new series of food raves in Manchester. The non-ticket, no-guest list event promises fun atmosphere and delicious food all combined in one.
It's just nice because sometimes when you go out for dinner you don't know what you want, so it's nice to have a good option and have a little bit of each and then just sit down and have a beer while you're doing it, so yeah.
Not really been anything like this before in Manchester, so just a really nice atmosphere and just great seeing so many stalls and just another good thing that Manchester's doing, I suppose.
Beat Street Friday Food Fight takes place over 12 Fridays from the 7th of March. The project has now seen its second night and didn't fall short of the opening night.
With some delicious food and drink, Friday never tasted so good.
The event works as a springboard for more amateur cooks to come in and cook next to some of Manchester's best.
It's just giving everybody a chance, so we've got like chefs here, we've got restaurants here, and we've got new startups, so it's like everybody's kind of not competing against each other, but they're all like in this together, which is really different and really good.
We are counting down the hours to the next Friday food fight, but if you're hungry now, head over to the website. Joanna Singowska for Quays TV News.
Just want to make an apology because we were not live streaming before, but that is back on, so please do tune in. That looked like a good food fight. That looked like my type of food fight.
Yeah, I mean, not for me really. I mean, I prefer the sort of having your food in your hair. I kind of like that really. I mean, even though my hair's kind of perfect. What do you think? I mean...
Anyway, dancing, drinking and deception are just a few things you will have witnessed if you've kept up with Salford's Big Brother.
As part of an experiment, 6 students volunteered to take on the challenge of spending 3 consecutive days locked inside a flat. And with no phones or contact with the outside world, their time was dedicated to a series of tasks set by Big Brother for our entertainment.
Now joining us in the studio is Beyonce lover and onesie wearer, Kimberly Harris, who's provided audiences with loads of laughs. You were great in the house, Kimberly. Absolutely.
Thank you.
How did you find it all? Tell us about the experience.
Do you know what? It was absolutely brilliant. I don't think you could even write up what could happen in your head. You didn't expect what happened to happen. You were just anxious to see what happened when I was in there.
And how was it living with 5 people that you've never met before?
Best experience of my entire life, going in and just meeting people of completely different personalities, because of course we judged them from their audition tapes when we first saw them, and there was nothing like what I think the audience saw when you were in there.
And what was your favourite part?
My favourite moment was probably the first time I heard the Big Brother sound go off and we all ran to find out what the task was, and it was just too exciting. It felt real.
Well, us here at Entertainment actually have our own favourite part, don't we, Kate?
We do, yes.
Yes, we actually managed to get some footage of the Big Brother house, and hopefully we can play it for you now.
I love it. Absolutely.
Wow.
Fantastic. Where did you learn to move like that, Kimberly?
I don't know, I just took on the role of choreographer. It just, something came under me when I saw the words Beyonce. I was like, this is my moment, I'll choreograph.
Yeah, because you did say in your audition tape, didn't you, that you love Beyonce?
Yeah, definitely. And then they gave us costumes as well, and as soon as I saw the penguin outfit, I was like, right, we're in the zone, we are winning this, because we was against another team as well, and we won with 77% of the vote,
wow.
So we did good.
Congratulations.
Oh, you were absolutely brilliant.
Thank you
very
much.
Cheers.
Thank you. Now, Baby Moves sessions in Manchester provide a place for parents and their infants to have time together in a safe and stimulated environment.
They are aimed at helping the children's physical and mental development. More from Svetlina Dankova.
Baby Moves sessions are taking place in the National Football Museum in Manchester, but what they really look like is a disco designed for babies. The lights are changing and they do enjoy some good music.
We had a little girl who didn't like the green light. I'm not sure why that is, but it definitely has a bigger impact on babies than it probably does on us adults. We have certificates for babies and parents who if a baby achieves something for the very first time, then they get a certificate to say that. And quite often it's their first ever certificate, and parents quite like that. So there was a little girl called Isabella who rolled over for the first time, and her mum was very, very excited, so we decided that we would give her a certificate and just put it on the fridge.
Sorry about those technical difficulties there, but those babies do look very, very cute indeed. And now joining us again in the studio is our film critic, Will.
Hello, good
Will.
evening.
Welcome back.
Hello, Will.
Earlier we talked about the Muppets. And again, what are you thinking? Have you changed your mind, Will?
It's very hard to have a bad opinion about the Muppets. They're just so charming. There is an inherent charm to just velvet puppets with some guy's hands up their bums. It's just really charming and lovely. But they are puppets, well, they're Muppets, and it's just very charming, very lovely. And while watching the film, I have to admit, I was smiling, I was tapping my toes to some of the songs. Some of the songs are brilliant by Brett McKenzie. And I did have a good time, but I know the Muppets can do better.
I do know, though, you do have another film for us.
Yes, it's Under the Skin, which is an artsy type film by Jonathan Glazer. Because it's an artsy film, I've got to get my brainy specs on. So basically, it's a movie about Scarlett Johansson, who plays an alien who is sent to Earth to prey on hitchhikers in Scotland for, to be honest, I can't really tell you why. The promotional material pretty much says that apparently she's from an alien corporation who is feeding on men to power her. I don't even know. It could be. Maybe I don't get it because maybe I'm not the type of audience for an arty film. Like, these glasses aren't even real. So. But the problem is that you may laugh, but it's a very. To be honest, it's cinematically inept in almost every single facet, and I'm as sure as the sun going down at night, I can pretty much guarantee this will be on my worst of 2014 list.
And do you have any closing comments there?
Well, okay, just to quickly round up, it's inept in every way, it's thuddingly boring, and the only way I can recommend it is if you need a cure for insomnia.
Thank you very much, Will. Thanks for joining us.
Sorry to be so negative.
Earlier today, we touched upon the phenomenon that is the makeup-free selfie.
Women from all around the country have been taking photos of themselves and posting them to social media in order to raise money and awareness for Cancer Research UK.
And we asked you to send in your tweets to @KeysNews, and we've had a great response, haven't we, Jenny?
We have. It seems that everyone's been getting into the spirit of the cause, really. We've got some gorgeous ones here. We've only chosen 3 because there was too many. We've got Steph Hooper, Shannon Weeks, and it's all #no makeup selfie, so everyone knows what they're talking about, and Emily Newton. Absolutely gorgeous. And our reporter Shannon Weeks found out more about this craze.
You don't have to look far for a full face of makeup in Manchester. 8 million in 6 days. Barefaced selfies, the new Facebook craze, raising awareness for Cancer Research UK.
At first, I thought it was a bit irrelevant to the whole raising money for cancer research thing, but I actually think I've actually done one myself, and I think as long as you upload the photo with proof that you've donated to cancer research, I think that's great. I think that is a really good idea because they've raised loads of money.
Girls nationwide have gone au naturel following the footsteps of TV celebs like Holly Willoughby and cancer survivor herself, Michelle Heaton. Plenty of girls will take their makeup off for their cameras, but will they take it off for mine?
Not many girls would remove their makeup. Here's mine.
Shannon Weeks, Keys News.
Oh, brilliant. It's so nice to see so many girls taking the makeup off and being brave, isn't it, Bradley?
It is nice. It is nice to see people actually doing this. And Jenny, I mean, people doing these selfies, it's great that we're raising money in this way. I think it's fantastic.
Have you taken one yourself, Jenny?
Absolutely, yeah, of course I did. I mean, have you? It's a bit brave, but yeah, I don't think anyone will want to see it. I don't think we'll go that far.
I'm sure you'd look absolutely fantastic without your makeup on, don't be silly.
Brad, have you done one?
Well, actually, Jenny, if you want to come over to the desk, we're
come
actually
over
going to do
here,
a selfie
Jenny.
right
Come
now,
on.
Should
live
we
in
take
the
our makeup
studio.
as well?
Right.
Bradley,
Oh my goodness. Right, well.
What were you doing?
Okay, get in.
Okay, I wish I hadn't thrown away my glasses.
You ready, guys?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. There we go. And we'll be tweeting that later in the show. Just follow us @KeysNews.
I can't wait to see that.
Now, that's all from us here at Entertainment, but don't go anywhere because we've got so much more to come from our global news relay.
Yes, we are going over to Raina, who has all the fashion trends for spring-summer to prepare you for the sunny weather that is hopefully ahead. Please tweet us at Quays News to tell us your fashion must-haves for the season, and to see any of today's entertainment, visit us at quaysnews.net.
And remember, that selfie that we just took is on Twitter at Quays News. Let's see if we can get as many retweets as Ellen.
We'll crash Twitter.
Yeah, I really
yes,
hope
we'll crash
we do.
Twitter.
900
We'll now hand over to Raina. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Manchester may not have its own fashion week, but the city still gives London a run for its money in the style stakes, as these fashionistas show us.
Pair of skinny jeans, my boots I've got recently from Office, and a jacket from Next that I got second hand from Vintage Clothes Shop. I like eclectic mix, so variety.
Not a fixed style, I think just any style which makes me more handsome, more bright.
And even though it's still cold, spring is just around the corner, and that means the season for weddings, outdoor parties and graduations. So let's have a look and see what's on offer.
Manchester-based littleblackdress.co.uk houses a collection of party dresses. Editor of the site, Natalie Gibbons, talks us through some trends to look out for this spring-summer season, starting with lace and pastel colours.
These three in fact, are from one of our designers called Kate Fernley. She's hugely popular for the wedding market, the races. Coming on to trend 2, which is embellishment. Again, you've got that little bit of cover up on your arms. It's a nice length, and the detailing.
A staple in most women's wardrobes, black will continue to be worn throughout spring-summer.
So this dress, for instance, has got a bit of leather. That was popular on the catwalk. And also sheer. Again, it's good for covering your arms. The last trend, which, gosh, summer trends you can't miss, is the floral trend. I know it comes back every year, and every year there's a little twist on it. But I mean, with colour and print, you just can't beat a nice floral dress for the summer. So they're sort of the 4 for dressing up trends I would certainly recommend this spring-summer 14.
This is Siobhan Maguire, Quays TV News.
The First World War was a war that changed the world. From 1914 to 19... The First World War was a war that changed the world. From 1914 to 1918, countries oceans apart engaged in a violent conflict.
It's deemed as a war of national importance, of national survival, and so you see, communities, the nation as a whole, coming together. The number of casualties sustained during the war is unprecedented in British military history, and they far surpass those of the Second World War. And I think it's this that I think is what's deeply ingrained in our national consciousness. The loss of so many soldiers, and it's this, I think, that the country as a whole we still remember. I favour the argument that had Britain not got involved, then I think Germany would have overrun the continent at some point.
Everybody was on board for the war. There hadn't been a war in Britain for a very long time. So people were not used to the idea of being at war. They weren't used to the horror of it. And they tended to regard it more as something that Britain was going to win, something that was going to be very brief. This was not a particularly visual culture. This was a culture that was not used to pictures and to films in particular, because obviously that technology didn't exist. But people were very used to cartoons, and they enjoyed cartoons, and they responded very positively to cartoons. And I think using newspaper cartoons, particularly to turn the Germans into an enemy, was a very effective weapon during this particular war. Propaganda was an important tool in making sure that people supported the war, continued to support the war. But most people believed that the war would be over in a matter of months. They were certainly not prepared for a 4-year war. And had they known that, I think the situation would have been very different. A lot of the men who were involved in the fighting were not professional soldiers, they were volunteers. And their sacrifice, to me then, is all the more acute and all the more worthy of remembrance. I think it fundamentally challenged the whole demographic of our society. Britain was literally never the same again, in my opinion, after the war, quite apart from all the people who were killed. I think the changes in the population, social change, economic change, political change, cultural change, everything was different afterwards.
The world was no doubt left scarred by the war. Across continents, generations left behind have been shaped by those who lived and fought before them. Like many cities in Britain, Salford has its very own story, descending from the devastating battle.
And so Salford raised 5 battalions of men to join Kitchener's new army. They called them Powell's battalions, which was great because people that worked in the same building, the same company, could go and join up together. But it had a double-edged sword, because on the days like the first day of the Somme, complete battalions of Powell's were wiped out. So complete towns. Salford was in mourning for years afterwards because their menfolk were simply wiped out.
The Salford Powells were 5 battalions formerly known as the Lancashire Fusiliers. Their graves lie in a place called Deepval in France, which was created to remember the missing of the Somme.
If you put it into context of today, could you imagine our society today standing for 75,000 people who died and their bodies never found?
Mike's grandfather was one of the many killed on the first day of the Battle of the Somme. He signed up to fight in the war as part of Kitchener's new army in 1915.
At the age of 39 with 5 children, he decided to enlist. I don't know what motivated him. Was it patriotism? Did he join because he felt pressured to? Did he join because the wives of the other people in Salford were giving him white feathers?
The Salford Powells suffered horrendous casualties on the first day of the Battle of the Somme in 1916. And clearly for those who were left behind, the families, if they'd lost a brother, father, a breadwinner, then that was going to have a fairly major impact on people in Salford. At the same time, we shouldn't forget the way in which Britain went to war in 1914. A dull, sort of normal humdrum life, and then suddenly there's marching bands, there's soldiers marching through the streets. Initially, the war was greeted with great enthusiasm because it took people out of their everyday lives. It was something exciting. There was no TV back then. This was a major event, and people felt they were part of something very, very important. It saw women working for the first time in large numbers, working in agriculture, working in factories, which set the tone clearly for women getting the vote after the First World War. So it's obviously a major impact. In terms of women's sense of independence as well, having worked in jobs previously reserved for men, this obviously laid the basis for later social attitudes.
This year marks the 100th year since Britain entered the First World War. Over the next 4 years we will see television dramas, programmes, documentaries, all dedicated to the war. The Imperial War Museum will begin commemorating it and all of those who fought for our country as the celebrations to bring the war to light. The Imperial War Museum have so much information about the First World War, from what men experienced in the trenches of France to the scorching heat in Africa. All areas of the conflict are covered. It takes you through the years and demonstrates just how the war had changed not only those wars that followed, but also our world today.
IWM North here in the Northwest is leading the regional commemorations, particularly with our major exhibition which opens in April called From Street to Trench, a war that shaped a region, which will be the largest exhibition ever created about the Northwest during the First World War. So both people who were based here and the region itself and how the region was affected by the conflict and how the region we live in today was very much shaped out of the First World War, but also these people who had probably never left the region before and were suddenly sent all over the world fighting in all different theatres of conflict, and the amazing personal stories that come with that.
Antonia Hunter reporting for Quays News.
Hello and welcome to Sports News in the Global News Relay. I'm Cameron Cullivis. It's a big day for sports news in the Northwest. As we heard earlier, non-league outfit Salford City FC have been taken over by Manchester United legends Gary Neville and Ryan Giggs. The team were believed to be in the process of recruiting fellow Reds legend Paul Scholes as team manager. However, this has since been denied. The deal is, however, pending approval from the league and the FA. I spoke to Ryan Giggs earlier on today, but he failed to mention that such a huge deal was imminent. Here's a statement from the midfielder. Everyone knows how important Salford is to me, so this is an exciting acquisition that is right at the heart of what we all believe in. We want to engage the football community and use our football experience and knowledge to aspire and nurture young talent. Being able to do that in Salford makes it even more exciting.
I'm not too sure. I mean, it's tight at the top, like it is at the bottom. Really, it's a really interesting league. Obviously, not for us. We would like to be up there with the rest of the teams, but I think it's one of them seasons where it's going to go to the last game.
That was Ryan Giggs talking about who he thinks will win the league. My money's on Liverpool, obviously. The FA are set to lose £1.6 million of public funding from Sport England after failing to improve the numbers of people getting involved in grassroots football. A Sport England survey found that the number of amateurs playing more than 30 minutes a week has dropped by over 100,000 to 1.84 million players. However, numbers have increased in disability football as a direct result of exposure following the London Olympics. We spoke to the Manchester FA, who have appointed an officer to promote disabled football across the region. Sorry for the technical errors. Tyson Fury displayed that not only is he furious by name, but also furious by nature at his latest pre-fight press conference. The Manchester heavyweight lost his cool and threw a table before making a swift exit. He faces current European heavyweight title holder Derek Chisora in his next fight, which is being held at the Phones View Arena on the 26th of July. Now, we all know the 11-a-side game of football and variations like 5-a-side and futsal, but what about an Irish take on the beautiful game? Will Moorcroft reports.
Is it a Sunday League football match? Is it a game of rugby? Or possibly even outdoor basketball? Gaelic football isn't quite any of them, rather a mix of the three, and definitely something out of the ordinary. To us, anyway.
So you carry the ball, and every 4 or 5 yards you have to solo the ball, which is kick it to yourself. You have to pass the ball using your fist, and you can score points by kicking it between a post or in the back of a net.
The game has been played in Manchester for over 100 years now, and was set up originally for the Irish workers moving to the city at the time. But it is not just restricted to our Gaelic cousins from across the Irish Sea.
Absolutely, it's growing. It's now played at universities all over the northwest of the UK, which is one of the fastest growing sports currently. Here today we've got a new team in our league, so we play out of the county of Lancashire. Currently there's approximately 11 teams in the county.
Apologies for the technical difficulties there. 5 brothers from Hesketh Bank have all been selected for Slovenia's rugby union squad. The first time in history one team has included 5 siblings. Emily Bergin reports.
These 5 rugby players have 2 things in common. They've all been signed to Slovenia Rugby Club, and they're all brothers. Jack, Max, Archie, George and Frankie Skofic have qualified to represent Slovenia in the match against Bulgaria. The Championship Division 2 match will take place in Ljubljana on the 12th of April, and is the first time 5 siblings have played together for one team.
It's something that I'm very proud to do, and really just looking forward to it. Want to do it and test yourself in that environment. It was a big shock, very surprised when it came about, but you want to be able to, if that opportunity comes around, you want to take it and hopefully have a good time doing it.
To play for a country, you must be born in that country, have a parent or grandparent who was, or have lived there for 3 years. The brothers' grandfather arrived from Slovenia after the Second World War and settled in Hesketh Bank.
And if all these 5 brothers make it onto the pitch at the same time, they may well be the first quintet to play internationally.
The brothers caught the attention of national selectors when they played together in the Jonathan Skofic Invitational Tournament, a competition set up in memory of their father, who tragically died in 2011. He was a huge influence in local rugby union circles and helped set up Tarleton Rugby Club, where his 5 sons play.
It was one of his dreams for us to all play together. He wanted to play with us as well. It was always something he said as we were growing up, that one day it was going to be him and all 5 of us on a pitch together. unfortunately that never happened. But when we got all 5 of us on a club pitch in the tournament to remember him, that was special.
With fitness tests, matches and the trip to Slovenia approaching, training plays a big part in the lives of these brothers.
We train 3-4 times a week and we have a game at least once a week. And then on top of that, because I would say we were all highly devoted to rugby, we go to the gym and it takes part of a lot of our social life, but that by no means means that we don't enjoy it.
The boys will be cheered on by family and friends in England and Slovenia, including their mother Pat and their 2-year-old sister Violet. Emily Bergen, Quays TV News.
Fun runners took to the streets of Manchester this weekend to take part in the Sport Relief Games. A large turnout made for a fun-filled day in aid of a great cause. Ben Hobson reports.
This weekend saw the first ever Sainsbury's Sport Relief Games take place in Manchester. The event attracted thousands of participants from all age categories. Many came in fancy dress, meaning it was an enjoyable day for all who took part and contributed.
Fab. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Oh, brilliant, yes, we do as much as we can every time. Absolutely good turnout. Lots of different people doing different activities, so it was really good.
Many major fundraising events took place not only in Manchester, but all over the UK. Events included running, cycling and swimming to raise money for Sport Relief. Events like these go to great lengths to give money to a brilliant cause worldwide, not just in the UK.
Manchester is the most diverse, and when it comes to the raise funds like this, they all come together as one family, which is great to see, and we're proud of this.
The main event was the Manchester Mile, which took place in Albert Square. The run attracted some famous faces, most notably former boxer Ricky Hatton.
I try and do a lot for Sport Relief, every year I try and do me little bit, and people obviously, it's amazing when you come here and you do something like that and people are thanking you.
Currently, over £53 million has been raised, and the games that took place over the weekend will no doubt have added to that total.
With the Sport Relief Mile taking place here in Albert Square and the Cycling Mile taking place at Old Trafford Football Ground, the donations made here for the Comet Relief charity will be brilliant. Ben Hobson, Quays TV News.
From running to rolling, Lucinda Parker has been to find out more about one sport that is growing fast in Manchester.
A new sport has arrived in England, one that combines roller skating and racing, roller derby. 10 players all skating around a track, banging into each other to win points. Sounds bizarre, but something becoming increasingly popular.
I would say, did you love disco skates when you were a child? Do you love random tights? And do you sometimes have anger inside you want to get rid of? In which case, come down.
One team from the northwest is the reigning City Girls from Oldham. They are a full-contact roller derby league who compete regularly against other teams in the UK.
It was a really big game for us today because, this venue we built from scratch. We've had a lot of extra help from investors and stuff. With the brand new floor, big deal for us, and also this is our first WFTDA official game, so it counts towards our ranking. So for us, it was a really big game today. And you won. And we won. But
2 players making names for themselves away from the reigning City Girls are Mizzy Rascal and Randy Razorlegs. They've both been selected to go to the tryouts for the World Championships in Dallas in December to represent Great Britain.
So it's not been selected yet, but we're on the training squad, so we'll be attending the practices, and so we hope.
We're going to try our hardest to get on that spot.
We're going to try and get there. It's
I'm happy just to get this far.
Yeah,
Even though it's a sport that not many people have heard of, it's fun, fast, and everyone should get involved. Lucinda Parker reported for Quays TV News from the Thunderdome in Oldham.
And finally, Lewis Smith takes a look at what happens when 2 titans of rugby league clash.
It may be fair to say that when you hear the word varsity, you think of Oxford and Cambridge, the River Thames and the boat race. But today, varsity has a slightly different flavour. We're here at the AJ Bell Stadium, it's Salford versus Manchester, and the sport is rugby league.
The 2 universities locked horns on Monday night in their yearly varsity challenge, and it was to be Salford who would go on to claim their 4th varsity title in a row. Samir Tarui opened the scoring, quickly followed by Higgins, who dived over in the corner. Although Alex Davidson failed of both conversions, he then powered over to bring Salford to a 14-0 lead at the half-hour mark. Salford were dominant in the first half, and Davidson added to their total when he slotted a 1-point drop goal. Manchester hit back with tries either side of half-time from Bates and Thomas. Davidson slotted a penalty for Salford to settle some nerves, before winger Will Evans darted over from close range to put the result beyond doubt. There was still time for Salford to add to their total, and a breakaway try from Ward was salt on the wounds of the tired Manchester side, as Salford cruised with a comfortable 27 points to 10 victory. The whistle blew on another varsity clash. For Salford, the celebrations could begin.
Last game in 3 unit, and it couldn't end any better. One thing I didn't want to do was lose on the last game, especially in the varsity, so it's 2-4 in your last game. It's big things.
Said that's the best night I've had as a Salford Rugby League player. I've been in all four, and this is the best one because of how hard the game was. Absolutely brilliant, really enjoyed it.
The fixture concludes the University Rugby League season, and for Salford at least, it was a case of job well done. Lewis Smith, Quays TV News.
That's all for this evening's sport, and all from me in this Global News Relay. I'm off for a lie down. Thanks for joining us.
The Philippines signed a historic peace deal today with their biggest Muslim rebel group. This comes after 17 years of negotiations and fighting that has killed at least 120,000 people. Turkey has blocked access to YouTube after a recording discussing alleged military action in Syria was leaked. Reuters news agency who examined the recording said they could not verify its legality, but that it could be a damaging leak. This comes after the country controversially blocked Twitter after tweets about government corruption appeared. In regional news, Manchester Airport is giving almost £500,000 to art sponsorship this year. Places like the Lowry and Bridgewater Hall will benefit from the money, which will boost art and culture across the region. A children's holiday camp in Salford, which has been open for over 50 years, may close due to funding cuts. Salford's Children's Holiday Camp is a popular destination for primary school children. Now, businessman Nick Abbott is hoping to provide the money needed to keep it open. A study has found that lovers in the Northwest are letting technology get in the way of their sex lives. Over the past few years, we have seen a boom in the number of gadgets available to the public. A survey has found that 1 in 6 people from the region have actually answered their phones or read a message whilst in the throes of passion. 5% have even admitted to checking their Facebook page. People are warned about a potential scam in regards to this year's Park Life festival tickets. People should contact Action Fraud if sold a fake ticket. The Park Life Musical Festival will take place on the 7th and 8th of June this year. A children's holiday camp in Salford, which has been open for over 50 years, may close due to funding cuts. Salford Children's Hospital holiday camp is a popular destination for primary school children. Now Nick Abbott is hoping to provide the money needed to keep it open. An unusual exhibition is taking place in the Sacred Trinity Church in...
For example, they first said the reason for closing the camp was because of urgent health and safety issues. We've addressed those. The second reason was the withdrawal of funding from Salford Council. We believe we can address that because we have people prepared to support the camp every year. We've got 5 companies so far prepared to give £3,000 every year.
An unusual exhibition is taking place at the Sacred Trinity Church in Salford. The pictures of decorated human remains were made by photographer Paul Cordinaris. The exhibition will be open until the 10th of April. That's all from me. It's over to Helen with the weather.
Thank you, Lucinda. After a few mixed days, the rain is clearing and it's looking nicer for the UK over the weekend. After a lot of heavy rain, most of the country will become drier for the evening, although the odd scattered showers will remain. In the north, the rain is set to become more continuous, but the south coast should remain dry. Tomorrow morning will start off dry across northern parts, but showers are expected right from the off in the south and the southwest. The showers will become stronger over the day, but could become clear later on. So the showers will begin to clear on Friday from the west, and the warmer conditions are expected. Highs are around 16 degrees with sunny spells and the occasional bit of cloud cover.
Wondering what to wear this spring and summer? Come and check out the latest trends at the Bolton Marketplace Fashion Show, where you can find out what's in to wear, how to do your hair or makeup.
Also the way it's styled. I mean, florals can be, particularly big florals. Okay, so pastels are great, but they can be quite difficult to wear. So I've gone for something in an easier pastel. I love the lime and the salmon in this, and it's really slouchy, and I think it looks really good with boyfriend jeans. Again, pastels that most people have bought into getting a biker jacket in black or navy blue leather. So buying it in pastels is a really good option, and it's really handy. It's something that you can actually wear in our British weather as well.
So do you think that would go with anything then?
I mean, pretty much with anything. It'd look fab over a dress and it's good with jeans as well. Yeah, I think it's really versatile. Yeah, and I mean that's what fashion's great. But sometimes you see things that might not work in our weather. So when you're looking at like street style, I think you have to consider your lifestyle as well, not just the fact that if you've got to get on public transport or it's going to rain. So you do have to consider that, otherwise it doesn't work for real life. So I also, like I said, boyfriend jeans. I love these from River Island. They've got a really cute little turn up, but you can customise them yourself as well if you wanted a little bit more of a turn up to wear with heels, because they look fantastic with heels. Wear it in the daytime with a statement necklace and some flat shoes.
So you could dress it up and then dress it down?
Absolutely. I mean, I like the idea of this more dressed down with bare legs on a summer day with a pool slider or with the new version of the Gladiator. Yeah. And then again, I can't beat white for summer, and this Rodion lace top is really sweet. It's really easy to wear, and again, it can be dressed up. The same with boyfriend jeans. They look amazingly flat, but they do look really stunning with high heels. And obviously heels now, there's no platform really, that we're going away from platforms, so high sandals and really bright colours would look fantastic with this as an outfit.
Do we have any more little items that you want to show? Ooh.
Yeah, the backpack, which I really like. The Olsons are really channeling. They love this, the Olsen twins, and they've got a fantastic label called The Row. This is inspired by that, and it's fab. And I mean, it's useful, but it also it's a stylish item.
So, first, can you please tell me about about your style inspiration?
My style inspiration? Well, I'm really into kind of Tokyo fashion. I'm obsessed with Japanese culture and Hello Kitty and cartoon image, so that's kind of me.
How did you decide to dye your hair pink?
I've had pink hair for 4 years now, so I'm kind of stuck to it. It cost me a lot of money, it's very high maintenance, but I'm obsessed with pink, so it was kind of a given. I had to have pink hair.
What is your main style item this season? What is it?
Do you know what? I say it every season, and it's cowboy boots because they go with everything. And I have them in every colour.
And how do you feel about fashion?
Fashion is my whole life. I'm a musician, but I think that fashion really inspires, music, and style goes with everything. So yeah, I'm all about fashion.
I take a lot of fashion inspiration from the music that I listen to. I think really so I like rock music, I like commercial stuff. I think Little Mix get it right quite often at the minute. They've got that kind of grunge vibe going on with like Pop Princess, yeah.
What is your top fashion item this spring?
This spring I will be mainly rocking high-waisted denim shorts.
And how about your fashion style?
Describe it for me. Again, I think fashion style-wise, I take a lot of inspiration from the music that I like, and I like a lot of rock-influenced stuff like studded things, leather.
One other thing I have to ask as well is fantastic hair. So I'd like to welcome to the stage now Morgan, who is from Tony & Guy in Bolton. Please put your hands together for Morgan.
One of the biggest things this spring and summer that we've learnt from working at London Fashion Week is that the hair is texture, creating texture in the hair and a sort of quite dishevelled sort of look, a little bit looser, almost a little bit sort of slept in. So working with sort of like plaiting techniques and twisting techniques to keep the hair sort of like up and away from the face, but at the same time not being afraid or scared to sort of make a few mistakes almost and pull the hair out a little bit and make it a little bit more sort of textured and yeah, sort of almost like lived in. And we use what we do at Tony & Guy to create that sort of look and that feel is different products from our Label M range, the range that we've created for ourselves to work with in the salon to create different textures in the hair. I think hair is part of fashion in the sense that I think fashion for me is an individual expression of yourself. So it's how you express yourself to the outside world, and that includes clothes, shoes, makeup, jewellery, accessories, and the biggest accessory, the only accessory that you never take off, is your hair. So to us that's the most important accessory. So you get that right and then everything else kind of goes around that, if you like.
Professional models, along with local people, and it takes a lot of guts to get on the stage in your
Hello and welcome back to our entertainment special. I'm Bradley Harris.
And I'm Kate Emery.
Since 9 o'clock this morning, we've been broadcasting from around the world.
Between 11 universities and 9 countries, we have brought you news starting from Malaysia all the way to San Francisco. And it's been an absolutely fantastic day, hasn't it, Bradley?
It's been absolutely amazing.
What has been your highlight of the entire 12 hours nearly?
I think my main highlight, Kate, would probably be when I received a tweet which showed a picture of people in India actually watching our show, and it's just mad to believe that there are people around the world actually watching this. I think it's fantastic.
I know, it's been absolutely fantastic. It just shows you what universities can do
Exactly.
when you all come together.
Exactly, you're right, you're absolutely
And
right.
now on to somebody who is often in the news all over the world. Kim Kardashian and her fiancé Kanye West are showing their love for one another on the latest edition of Vogue magazine. Actors Seth Rogen and James Franco had one of the best takes on the Kimye cover. However, it's all good fun as even Kendall and Kylie Jenner joined in on the action. What we're talking about there is that they've actually been doing spoofs where they put on their own heads onto the picture of the Vogue magazine cover, and they've been absolutely hilarious.
They've been so good. These spoofs are all over the internet. You've got so many actors doing this. And hang on a minute, Kate, we've just got some breaking news. I've just been informed that we've got the latest edition of the Vogue magazine.
Oh my!
There it is, Kate. Oh God!
Look at that!
How did they get that picture
I didn't
of us?
expect that. Well, I actually
expect
heard Sarah Michelle Gellar cancelled her subscription because of Kim, but I'm sure she'd reignite it when she's doing that.
Definitely.
Well, now we have a very special interview for you, all the way from Melbourne.
Mark Richardson is a journalist on the Melbourne Observer and the presenter of Porch Thoughts.
We spoke to him just a few minutes before we came on air, and he stayed up especially to speak to Bradley and I about the exciting things ahead for him.
Started off as a newspaper column. It still is. It's been running in the Melbourne Observer for 2.5 years now, and then suddenly it just got this global whole expansion about it, and went over to the UK with ilovemediacityuk.com, and now it's gone over to Asia. So I'm connecting with people and countries all around the world through Porch Thoughts.
Oh, fantastic. And can you tell us about the actual idea behind Porch Thought? What is a Porch Thought?
Okay, so a porch in my columns and in my clips that I make, it's basically say that you're on your broadcasting porch at the moment. An actor may be in a green room or on a stage or even on a set. A singer, he may be in a recording studio or even live on stage, and that is their porch. It's not the porch beside your front door, it's the porch where you shine the most. In Jakarta, I've got the CEO, award-winning producer, Mr. Richard Bunterio and his team coming over here because we're going to create a brand new Porch Thoughts series that's going to be available online at www.porchthoughts.com, and it's going to be global, and it's going to be sensational. And I wake up in the morning and they're going to be here, and we're going to say, right, how are we going to connect the world? Like with the UK, Asia, Europe, and of course Australia and New Zealand, because everyone's got a porch and thoughts to share on it.
What a great guy, Kate, and such an interesting concept. I will have to get thinking about some of my porch thoughts. What about you?
Indeed, Bradley, I will have to as well. Now, Mark is also in the process of collaborating with the UK. Chris Horrocks from I Love Media City UK is here to talk to us. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris. Hello there, how are you?
Now, can you start with us by telling us what you actually do at Media City UK? What is your role here?
Yes, sure. Okay. I run ilovemediacityuk.com, and that's a destination site for this area for Media City. So I've been collaborating with Mark across the globe, if you like, for the last 2 years, and trying to bring his Porch Thoughts concept over to our viewers in Media City on the website.
I think it's great that you are both working together to sort of interconnect everybody around the world. Do you think this is going to take off?
I do. I think there's already been a viral following for Mark in Australia, and that's started to go over to the States now and into Europe and over here to the UK. He's had some great guests on board, like Tony Hadley from Spandau Ballet, as he said, and I just think that people are really interested in expressing something in a different way that's personal to them, and it's their one soundbite moment to give their porch thoughts.
And what do you think Media City UK can do to help Mark with his Porch Thoughts sort of
Well, this place
idea?
is unique, isn't it? I mean, Quays News alone, you guys are doing things here that are revolutionary and radical, and that's great, and it's fantastic and exciting to be part of that. But the BBC and ITV, all the main broadcasters are finding that same enthusiasm as well. So this is the best place to do anything at the moment, in my opinion. I'm completely biased, of course, but we really do love Media City, and as a vehicle to get a message out there to the world, it's the best place in the world.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us, Chris.
Now, from sunny Melbourne to a windswept Cardiff, CBeebies presenter Alex Winters is sleeping rough tonight on behalf of the charity CEO Sleep Out.
Our Cardiff reporters, Ashley Richards and Regal Noble, went to see how he is feeling about the night ahead.
So we're at Cardiff Castle this evening as part of CEO Sleep Out Cardiff. And it's an event. There's going to be, how many, 70, 80 of us?
90.
90?
90, yeah.
90 of us sleeping rough. We just have sleeping bags. In fact, today, my mum and my brother said, so what tent are you staying in? I said, no, there's no tent. So we're sleeping out, we're sleeping rough to raise money and awareness for homeless charities.
Alex is receiving great support on Twitter, but is very keen to get people donating.
To do so, go to justgiving.com/Alex Winters or text NAP S50 £1 to 770.
Lovely.
With so many tattoo lovers and body art conventions, Manchester could easily be renamed the tattoo capital of the UK. Today, people are getting tattooed from head to toes and are being offered all kinds of designs and unusual ideas.
We're tattooing today a geometric pattern one based on some of my own artwork. It's going to be an all-black tattoo. It's all done in a pointillism style or dot work, and it's just going to be done with black ink. It's personal taste, isn't it? So, you know, not everybody likes the same thing. I don't like realism tattoos, so I do black tattoos. Whereas, don't get me, they're technically amazing. It's not for me to do. I don't personally enjoy doing them. So I just stick to what I enjoy doing. Painting people black, it's fun.
Tony was 40 when he made his first tattoo. He still remembers how it all started.
In my mum's back garden with a bottle of Jack Daniels and some pins and some Ozzy Osbourne logos when I was 14, and I did my first hand poke tattoos then. So there you go. I did the first one, I think it was either an Aussie logo or a Twisted Sister logo I did first. And I did them by hand, and I always wanted to do it ever since then. I'm 40 now and I do it every day, and it's mint, man. I wouldn't change it for anything, what I do. The best I've ever done? Wow, always the next one, always the one I'm working on at the moment. So it's always the best one because I'm doing it there and then, and it's fun.
Tony has been a professional tattoo artist for more than 10 years now. He believes patience is the key to success.
Just have to be patient. So if you're not patient, you'll rush it and it won't look nice, as long as it takes, as cliche as that sounds. So I never rush a tattoo because a rushed tattoo looks rushed. So if you take your time and get it looking exactly how you'd like it to look, everyone's a winner.
Simon believes that getting tattooed cannot be compared to any other feeling in the world.
Choose your artist wisely. You've got to choose a design that's going to have the longevity to stay with you for a long time. You've got to be happy with what you were getting. You've got to live with it for a long time. So, but you need to feel the experience. It's one of them crazy things that you can't explain to anybody else until you've had it done.
It's not for me to say you should, it's for you to decide, like, but you should experience it. It's something different, like, so. And when you do get one, you'll understand why people actually then go out and absolutely get covered in them, because, again, on the cliche thing is it's an addiction. You hear people saying, and it is, it's very addictive. In a good way.
I think it's just like sort of expressing yourself, and it's like there's stories of my life all over me. I don't know why I need to get a tattoo to remember stuff or to represent stuff, but it just seems to help, and it's helped my confidence, strangely enough, as well. But I don't think I'd be able to lie here with my bum out before, but it hasn't bothered me at all today.
They made me wonder how many tattoos would be satisfactory.
Not enough is the answer to that one. I've got bits on my legs, bits on my arms, so the whole middle section is clean as of yet.
In most cases, tattoos have a special meaning for the person getting it done.
Probably this monkey on my arm, which is for my son, but all this arm is going to be monkeys, so we call our son Monkey Boy, so they are for my little one.
With so many tattoo artists and different designs, it is essential that you do your research before getting tattooed.
Like I always say to my own clients, if you're going to go and get a tattoo, make sure you're happy with the portfolios before you actually commit to anything. Word of mouth's always a good thing. People who have tattoos and get tattooed by people, and you can see the work on them, and they say, yeah, go check this guy out. And you've already got a good idea of what you're going to get before you go, because you can see what they've got on them. So, if anything, all I say is just do your research properly for getting tattooed. It's not difficult nowadays. There's hundreds and hundreds of resources online. Instagram, Facebook and all that is absolutely saturated with amazing tattoo artists. But there's nothing special about individual tattoos. Every tattoo is special. It's always special for that person getting it done. And you've got to make it a special thing for them. You've got to make that whole experience like good, rather than going somewhere and being treated like muck and not being happy, going into a dirty studio. So, like I say, just do your research and be happy with what you're getting done before you actually commit to getting it done.
Cheryl first got tattooed at the age of 18. 12 years later, there is almost no space left for anything else.
I've got 2 sleeves, then obviously I guess this counts as one. And then my very first one is some tiny cherries that I've got on my hip bone. I've still got to get my other arm finished yet, but they're all just special in different ways. I've always wanted to have a really big piece, and I'm friends with Leo anyway, so when he said he needed someone to do, for a convention, I was like, please pick me.
For some people, tattoos are equivalent for a new beginning and a way to turn a new page in their lives.
Well, I've had a bit of a rough time over the last few years, and so the Phoenix obviously representing like new beginnings, and it's behind me, so it's my past and moving on.
Tattoos are an artistic way to express yourself, but they could be quite painful as well. How much does it hurt?
Does it hurt? It's hurt more in some places. The bum was interesting. Back's not so bad, but doing the thighs was really sore. I found it hard to walk today. Yesterday I had about 10 hours, and then today we've been going since 11. He did the outline and the background and everything in stages, so I'm not too sure of the total time.
Tattoos go back further than you might think.
Many years ago, particularly in Victorian times, tattoos were unusual. You only saw perhaps a sailor with the odd tattoos. So seeing a tattooed man, people like the great Omi, who were tattooed from head to foot, was extremely unusual. And like other freaks, they were self-made freaks, but like freaks of nature, dwarves, giants, deformed people, put themselves on show and charged money for the public to come in and see them. And these, in America, became known as 10-in-1 shows. In England, we had shop shows and other types of sideshows. Well, in the late 60s, 70s, those shows died out. And so we have been recreating the flavour and the fun of those shows. Now, of course, you don't see a tattooed man in these shows because you can look around the streets and see them walking around. And the Freaks show is now on television, of course, where you see amazing people with all sorts of strange body styles on television. But we're bringing back the passion, the fun, the excitement of the show. It's the show that everybody can see, and it's in town today. In this show, you're going to see a man eating fish 6 feet long. You'll see a giant bat 8 feet long. You'll see Dangerous Steve juggling fire. You'll see our wonderful Miss Elastina, who avoids the blades of doom where they're put through her inches from her body. It's a great fun show for everyone, young and old, shy and bold.
Since then, people have become so obsessed with tattoos that now every fifth person in the UK has at least one of these body art illusions. For Quays TV News, Emilia Mincheva.
That's all from us here at the Global News Relay. A massive thank you to Jakarta, Turks, the Columbia Municipal College in Chicago. In Dubai we had Manipal. In India we had the Asian College of Journalism. In Texas we had the West Texas A&M.
And also in Australia we had the RMIT, San Fran State in San Francisco, Volder in Norway, Binus in Malaysia, and of course us here at the University of Salford. Jamie and I would like to say a huge thank you and also well done to all the reporters, tech guys, and in particular our producer Emily Bergin. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye from myself and Jamie.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.